new project opens up great investment opportunities for British citizens.
Daniel didn't trust strangers. He trusted a familiar face, a calm voice, a well-known expert, a video that looked real. By the time Daniel realized it wasn't, his money was already gone, moved through cryptocurrency, beyond reach. But what Daniel didn't know that night wasn't just that the video was fake. It was that every step he took after clicking it would feel reasonable, right up until the moment there was no way back. This is how trust was weaponized. Daniel Walker lived in Nottingham. A quiet street, parked cars, neighbors who nodded but didn't talk much. Daniel was 42. He worked in logistics, spreadsheets, shift rotas, deadlines. He wasn't careless with money. In fact, the reason this worked is the same reason he'd never fallen for scams before. He paused, he questioned, he double-checked, and still, he clicked. Daniel had savings, about £25,000, not an investment fund, a safety net. By late 2023, that safety net felt thinner. Mortgage payments had risen, energy bills had doubled. Everything cost more, and nothing seemed to move forward. Daniel wasn't trying to get rich. He was trying not to fall behind. One evening, scrolling through Facebook after work, a video appeared. It featured Martin Lewis, not shouting, not selling, just explaining, calmly, how ordinary people were using cryptocurrency platforms to protect themselves from inflation. The tone was familiar, measured, responsible. Daniel had followed Martin Lewis for years. Millions of people had. So when the video spoke about investing responsibly, Daniel listened. What Daniel didn't know was that Martin Lewis had never recorded that video. According to Action Fraud, deepfake adverts using Martin Lewis's face and voice are among the most reported investment scams in the UK, realistic enough to convince cautious, financially literate victims. Daniel clicked. The website looked legitimate. Muted colors, professional language, a dashboard that resembled platforms he'd seen advertised on television. It didn't promise huge returns, it promised security. Daniel started with £2,000. The steps were precise, technical. It felt official. Within days, the dashboard updated. His balance showed a small increase. Not dramatic, believable. At this point, Daniel believed he could still walk away. And technically, he could have. What stopped him wasn't greed. It was something much quieter. Then the phone rang. The man introduced himself as Daniel's account manager. British accent, calm, polite. He knew Daniel's name, the amount he'd deposited, even the time he'd logged in. He congratulated Daniel, professionally, not emotionally. He explained market movements, warned him not to rush. In fact, he told Daniel not to invest more yet. That restraint mattered, because it sounded like professionalism. Over the next few weeks, they spoke regularly, sometimes short calls, sometimes longer conversations about timing, volatility, and risk management. The dashboard continued to show steady growth. Daniel added more, £5,000, then £8,000. By January 2024, he'd transferred nearly all of his savings. When Daniel hesitated, the account manager reassured him. "You're doing this sensibly," he said. "Most people panic too early." That first night, Daniel believed the danger would come as urgency, or excitement, or obvious risk. Instead, it came disguised as patience. Then Daniel tried to withdraw £5,000, not because he didn't trust them, but because he wanted to prove he was still in control. The response was calm. There was a delay, a compliance check, nothing serious. To release the funds, a processing fee was required, paid in cryptocurrency. Daniel hesitated, but the dashboard now showed over £30,000, so he paid. The withdrawal didn't arrive. Instead, another issue appeared, a tax clearance, then an anti-money laundering requirement. Each time, it sounded like the final step. Each time, it wasn't. According to Action Fraud, this escalation, charging victims repeated fees to access their own funds, is one of the most common features of deepfake investment scams. By February, Daniel had exhausted his savings, but he didn't stop, because by then, the dashboard showed more than £60,000. Stopping didn't feel like safety. It felt like failure. So Daniel did what many victims do. He borrowed a £15,000 personal loan, then another $20,000 through credit. Each payment was framed as recovery, not risk. By the time Daniel realized something was wrong, he had sent more than £75,000. Savings, loans, debt. One Monday morning, the platform failed to load. The phone number rang out. Emails bounced back. The website vanished. According to Action Fraud, criminals are using fake celebrity endorsements to promote cryptocurrency investment scams, persuading victims to transfer large sums of money that are almost impossible to recover. For Daniel, that sentence wasn't a warning anymore. It was a description of what had already happened. Only later would Daniel learn that his money had been converted to cryptocurrency, split across wallets, and moved beyond reach. Daniel didn't just lose money, he lost stability. And now, alongside the shock, there was something worse: repayment. Daniel's story feels personal, but it isn't unique. According to BBC News and Action Fraud, deepfake investment scams using figures like Martin Lewis and Elon Musk have surged across the UK. In some cases, scammers generated thousands of fake adverts a day. The technology is key. Deepfake tools now allow criminals to clone faces and voices cheaply and quickly, producing content convincing enough to pass a casual glance. The adverts don't shout, they reassure. Once someone clicks, their details enter a pipeline. Call center agents take over. Scripts, logs, psychological profiling. Victims are guided slowly, encouraged to start small, shown believable returns, reassured when doubts appear. Cryptocurrency enables the scale. Funds can be moved instantly, split across wallets, and routed internationally. By the time victims realize what's happened, the money is gone. According to Action Fraud, recovery is rare. The scam doesn't end with theft, it ends with silence. Daniel didn't walk away empty-handed. He walked away with debt. £75,000 gone. Savings wiped out. Loans still due every month. The scam ended in February. The repayments didn't. So prevention isn't just about avoiding a scam, it's about protecting your future from years of repair. If you see a celebrity, journalist, or financial expert promoting an investment on social media, assume it is fake. The face may look real. The voice may sound right. That no longer means anything. No genuine investment company will contact you because you clicked an advert. They won't assign you a personal account manager. They won't call repeatedly to guide your decisions. That structure exists for one reason: to keep you emotionally engaged. And remember this rule: if you are asked to pay money to access your own money, stop. Processing fees, tax clearances, anti-money laundering charges. These are not delays. They are the scam. And finally, pause before you borrow. Scammers know that once savings are gone, loans feel like a solution. They're not. They turn a financial loss into long-term damage. Daniel didn't lose £75,000 in a moment of greed. He lost it step by step, because each decision felt reasonable at the time. That's why the strongest defense isn't intelligence, it's interruption. Breaking the chain early, before trust becomes obligation.
Stay calm. Stay skeptical. Protect what you've worked for.